All right. Good evening, everybody. We're back for some form of teaching and streaming today, and it's going to be another exciting episode where I try as much as possible to just build something while people are just like learning, and also for me as well, it's a way for me to also learn as well at the same time. So, welcome to the live stream today. And coming from yesterday, we actually had some interesting episode where I sort of talked about JavaScript and we talked about the scheduling APIs in JavaScript. Eventually, we also looked at call forwarding, right? That is the use of call function dot call, or the use of function dot apply, or the using of function dot bind, right? These are interesting mechanisms that we can use to change the context and the argument that a particular function is able to have access to at a particular time. So that was like another very amazing. We talked about decorating as well. That is the concept of decorating a particular function, right? So if you want to watch that, you can check the YouTube channel, and then you would see you will be able to also watch the replay of that. And I think I also streamed out to Twitch for those of you who probably are listening from Twitch, and I'm also streaming to LinkedIn as well. So today, I usually do things relating to Next or React JS, right? As the case is. So today, I'm just gonna continue building the authentication flow of the e-commerce application that we've been trying to work on, right? I'm not sure we've completed the whole flow, but would definitely do well to make sure everything works as they should today. And that is what we're going to be doing in the next couple of minutes. Are you here? Nifemi, good evening if you're here. And for any other person that is listening and from wherever you're trying to join from, good evening. And I know for those who are in maybe Nigeria, we might be going through difficulties and different seasons depending on the network issue and the whole economic issue back at home. And yeah, it is what it is, and I hope things get better soon, right, for everyone. So I'm just there hoping that I could assist as many persons as I can with being able to teach you, help you to be able to get your software development the first job, right? That is something I hope to do so that you can improve your skill set and be able to shoot your shot out there and be able to like move on to like the next level for your career as much as possible. So that is something, right? I hope things get better, and I hope, like, most especially for us as developers, we need the internet, we need internet, and we need a stable power supply to be able to consistently be the best at what we do. And the moment those things are not majorly available, and it becomes very difficult. And that is to tell other people, other persons, engineering teams outside of the country. I mean, when you're able to hire somebody in Africa or most likely Nigeria, as the case may be, I mean, it's what it is. They've gone through a lot of processes to be able to get to where they are. So I'm just gonna share my screen, and then we can quickly get everything up and running. I'm just going to walk us through the entire application that we have and where we are at, and then how we intend to also like make the best use of this 1 hour 1 hour 30 minutes opportunity that we sort of have here. So I think the name of the project should be Beauty Forever. Samuel, good evening. How are you? Thanks for joining the stream. I hope you're fine. I hope you're managing yourself well, considering the situation in Nigeria. Hmm. So, this is the code base that we've been working with, right? It has majorly all of the all of the major things that we sort of so it has just basic stuff. Like when I say basic stuff, I mean just all the Next.js basic stuff are there. I was trying to use Drizzle before, but Drizzle is not, I'm not able to get a hang of it. So I just switch entirely to just let everything work with just a direct DB call to Vercel database, right? Just Vercel Postgres database. So I'm going to show most of the things that we have, and then we can also try to test all the things that we have. So the last time we were on the stream, right? The last time we were out here, we worked on majorly the register flow. Those were the things that we sort of like worked on, and the goal there was to just ensure that everything is working fine regards the register flow. And most importantly, I think we focused on ensuring that we are doing a server-side validation with Zod. And that was something that we actually focused on heavily, right, the last time out. So you could check inside of the UI folder here. We have a login form, right? And we also have what the register form. And this register form this register form helps us to, I'm coming, just give me a sec. So the register form here is supposed to help us to be able to, like, we have several layers of, we have the first field, which is the name. We have another field which represents the email. We have another field which represents the password, and we have another field which represents the confirmed password. Then eventually we are able to then use the forgot password link, or we have the button here, right, that we have also turned into another component. And we have some other interesting things that we want to make functional later on. So I'm just going to go ahead and start the whole project also, just also bring in a Chrome tab here. We will need a Chrome tab as well. We need a Chrome tab, and but then that's just, once I run the whole application, you'll see where we are currently, right, with the application. It's the Next.js app router project, and we're trying to also use Nextjs for the, what's it called, for the authentication, right? Majorly for the authentication. And part of the advantages that Next.js brings is the ability to talk to a database, right? The use of React 19 server components, then the introduction of server actions, that is being able to let the form make a server action call, that is a direct call to the database, right? Which is something that we don't have before. Even if we have it before, it's not that smooth. But with the use of other interesting things like the use form state, right, which is there to help us. Then we also have what the we also have another one, which is the use pending. I think there should be another one. Okay, we can use the I think there should be a use pending I think there should be use pending status, if I'm correct now. I'm not sure what exactly this is, but obviously we can still extract it out of use from status here, or better still, this would have been good. We can pass it as a prop. We can pass this, we can pass pending from this place, right? We can pass the pending from this place as a prop, because I recently found out that we can also, the third item that is returned here is pending, right? The third item that is returned here is pending. So if we pass this as a prop here, right, then we just need to adjust this component to accept a pending status, right? A pending pending status, and we're going to take this out entirely, and we can make sure that it also supports pending, which is boolean, right, which is optional. And yeah, that works perfectly well. And we can also call it, if it is login, so we're using this button for both our login and our register. We can say submit here. Let's just call this submit, right? And if we're submitting, right, we can change it to ing, right? We'll change this to ing later on, right? Submitting, I'm not sure whether submitting is double ing or submitting. It should be double T though, I'm thinking. Yeah, it should be double T, right? Submitting. And that's interesting. So it means that if this is pending and it's true, then it will change to submitting, and the button is going to be disabled, right? Which is something that we want to do. Because we're using this button for logged in as well, it will put the ting here as well. So we don't want T to appear here. So we can also put T inside another. We can put this T in a check on its own to only I mean, we can put this into a check as well, because it can also accept a check in here. And if it is what? If type, right? If type is equals to what? If type is equals to, if type is equals to, if type is not equals to, let's just say if type is not equals to, if type is not equals to login, let's just say if type is not equals to login, or let's just use this directly. If type is equals to register, then you want it to have the T, which is submitting. Thanks to React that allow us to do this, then we can say register, and we can now, if type is equals to register, we want to do a T. We want to put a T here, and else you want it to have what? You want to have a what? An empty string. So it means that this is supposed to add, and I don't want it to also have space at all, so we can close this empty space out here. And yeah, this is gonna work like this here. So we're just passing pending as a prop rather than just creating another hook here, right, for extra information. I've not pushed, have I pushed this to, I'm not sure I've pushed this repository. I think I should have pushed this repository. Let me confirm if I've pushed it. So git remote v, yeah, this is the URL, git remote v, and so I'm going to drop the link here in the chat for everybody who wants to check it out on GitHub. And that's the link to the project. Yeah. Good evening, boss. How are you? and I wanted to send this to you guys as well for so if you're probably just getting into Next.js. I think I did something with a friend recently with Next.js. Um I did something with a friend recently with Next.js, which might also be helpful to you guys, for you guys to also use. So there is something called this is plain.next. Even though this project uses the pages router, right? It uses the pages router, but this is another interesting repository that you can check. Most importantly, just some of the operations that I have, the dynamic routing. We're able to do dynamic routing. I'm not sure. Should I push all the things that we have here? We should have more than this though in the pages. I'm not sure I've pushed all these things. There should be more than this here. Oh. Uh, let's just do a sync fork, update branch. Let's see. I think so. This should be up to date with what I did last year. So this is still a Next.js application, and so you can just get the idea of what is going on. We have the dynamic routes, then we have some get static props and some other beautiful things working there. So this is one repository that you can check out if you ever have a need to work on a pages router project. And there should be another one which is called Seek feeds. I'm not sure whether this is the name though. This is very, very interesting. Can I remember this name? So this is supposed to be a project. Yeah, it's supposed to be Seek feeds. It's a project that I've worked on based on a particular course that I purchased some 3 years ago from West Boss. So it has almost all this. It uses a pages router as well, and you can see almost all the beautiful things that Next.js is able to do as well, just within this project as well. So you can also check this out. It's also on my GitHub. It is free. It is open, and you can check. And I think another thing here is that I think there's test here, but even though the test is using enzymes, but I have another one as well. I have another repository that I know that uses React testing library for the test. So there should be pajamas, e-commerce, right? It's on there as well. This has proper testing. It has all the full it has both end-to-end and unit test as well. So you can always check this out as well. You can always check this out as well. I think it is going to be of benefit. Just go through the repository. It should be of benefit to you, right? If you ever need to write anything that has test, whether it is end-to-end test or yeah, I think I should be using React testing library. Yeah, I know I used React testing library, and I think this is a very old code base as well, quite very, very old. So you can check it out. You can check uh you can check everything out if you ever have a need of that as well. But everything is on my GitHub. So if you ever want to check it out, everything is on my GitHub if you want to check it out. So yeah, good evening. Nifemi. So we have for 3,000, for 3,000, and that's going to show us our application, route us to the landing page of the application that we are working on. And from there, you'll be able to see where we are. I think I don't know if Samuel was here last time, but I was sure that Bosse was here the last time, right? Bosse was here the last time. Hmm. Right. So we have this working, and then we can always check I think register, that's where the bulk of the functionality is at the moment. And here is powered by this particular UI. This is powered by this UI that we are using here. Okay. Hi. So I have somebody else on the stream. It's Ruda. Yeah. What's up? So this is what we currently have here, right? We have the name, the email, the password, and the confirm, right? And if you try to submit anything here, okay, why, why should you even try to send something without? No, 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 no. That is not supposed to happen. Hmm. So I'm not sure. Maybe I've not fixed the API key there. Let's see .env, and then we can do a clock, and we can have it there. So I need to create another one, which is resend. What's the name of that API key again? Resend underscore API underscore API underscore key, right? And then we have this here. And so in between, we can paste something in between that place. So I could just quickly go down to an existing project, and let me just open another terminal to carry out some operations off screen here. I'm not sure I've tested the sending email. We also built a sending email functionality into this product that we're trying to build, where you can also send email right out to our users, right? Anytime somebody sign in or sign up, right, you can send email to them. So this is PR here, CD into nextjs. I'm trying to copy something from another place. Then we have but so we have this here, and we can make this here as well. Here's our VS Code, and we have that. So we have that there on our, yeah. So we're just going to test the whole thing again, and I don't expect it to break anyways. Let's just test. We're trying to test what we have to see where we are. And if we go back to our server, so if you try to send something here, right, you would see these. For those who are on the stream last week, you would know that this was what we dedicated our time on last week, right? Such that we're able to get this clean server-side validation, right? Just to handle all of the possible. This is happening again. This is happening with Zord on the what? On the what? Server side. That is, on the client side, we're just going to use required, right? On the client side. So if you check, we're trying to register some things, right, with empty information, but it is throwing some error message on the server side. And the beautiful thing is it is also communicating this error on the server side down to the client side with the help of what? Our what? Use form status, right? So we are able to see what? We're able to see this error message as well on what? On the client side, that is inside of our browser. We're able to see this error, and the moment we're able to see this error, then we're able to render the error, right? Render the error on the UI. So how are we rendering the error? Right, there is one rendering that happens inside of here, right? This is the general error that we're rendering here, and then we have the other error inside of what the component, that is, we have the invalid prop right here that renders the error, and we also have another thing here, right, that renders another error here. So this is basically what handles the error, right, that we are looking at here. There's a problem here which we're going to fix later on. Yeah, that's majorly where we are with this application. So if you want to get a hang of what is going on, by now you should have an idea that if we fill this information with a user's, whatever a user supply us, then we can now attempt to send this information to a proper database, right? And you would see that it tries to send this information to a proper database, right? And there is no error at all that happens. So, and the action that happens, the action that controls what happens is this register. And this register comes from what? This register comes inside of this place, right? So here, this register does the validation using Zord, right? And we are able to what? If there is error, then we can console.log the error that is happening, whether on the server side or not, and we can decide to get extra information about the error. That is, we're getting value and we're getting field. These are just extra information about the error, and then we are returning the error, and we are returning what? The message of the particular error that is happening. And immediately that is happening, we can also do some other information, right? That is, we can do well to what? We can do well to what? To, if there is no error, that is, if there is no error, console.log the data that we are sending, then we need to find a way to hash the password using bcrypt, find a way to save the user's information to the database, and be able to send email to our user, right? And then we can return a success or redirect our user to log in, right, directly. So that's what we want to try to do. And for those who are just seeing this for the very first time, we created this function to help us to send email, right, to what? Anybody who is trying to sign in. And then where is this component where you can generate some template, right? You can create some React template, and it helps us to send what? Email out using resend. We're using resend for almost all the sending of the email that happens here. So basically, that is what we have. Again, anything inside this action.ts file is what we refer to as what? An operation that will happen where? That will happen on the server. Okay, so that's why we have use server here. But by mistake, somebody can try to import all these things and maybe try to run them on the client. So if you don't want them to run it on the client, you can install the npm package called server only, just to make sure that what? Anytime somebody tries to use a component that is supposed to run on the server, right, only, you can what, and if you want to understand the difference between both of them, right, you can get to understand the difference between server only and use server here, right, on, and we can check the npm package. This just, it helps us to specify that this component should only run on the server side alone, right there. So that is that about that. So you can come here to read more about the difference between use server and server only, right? Based on what the specification that they do, right? So let's get this working. The goal is to get this working. Again, we are sending the information out here. So if we check the DB here, we can see that, right, it is trying to register the data for this particular person. So we want to, from there, we want to hash the password. Let's check whether we have bcrypt. Do we have bcrypt installed? Bcrypt. Let's just check package.json. So we're checking our package.json. And then we need bcrypt. Do we have bcrypt here? No. So we need to install bcrypt. All right, let's install bcrypt. And we're going to install bcrypt. Just give me a sec. And the goal is to install the right version. That, so we're going to install bcrypt, npm install bcrypt. So I'm not sure whether I'm using npm for this project or not, or whether I'm using Born, but it should be npm that I'm using. I think so. Okay, I'm using Born. So I can say Born install bcrypt, bcrypt should be BRCYPT, right? And we need the types, right? The proper type. So we need heart. Just install this first. And then we need to install the other one as what? At types bcrypt as a dev dependency. Right? So we have the two things installed. So we can go back to our code and we should be able to see bcrypt and the types there. So we can plug them together inside of this action.ts and make it functional. So what do we need to do? We need to find a way to hash the password. So we want to say hashed password, right, is bcrypt dot validated data dot password and hash it by 10. So we need to import this bcrypt here such that we can import bcrypt at the top. Then we can do import bcrypt, right, from all that we're trying to do. Yeah. So this is bcrypt here. So this is supposed to have the password being hashed. So to confirm that we have the password hashed, right, we can log that to see whether it is hashing the password or not. Let's make sure we are saving everything, and we can try to submit the information that we have, and we would see that this is the log for the data that we have, and this is the hashed password. So it means we can now send the hashed password to the database, right, so that we can save that. Now, how do we save that now to the database? So we need to create a function that can help us to save something inside the database, right? That is, we need a function that can create what a particular user for us. So probably would like to put the function maybe below. Let's just put the function below where we are currently, and we can do function. Let's just do a function. Create user, and this is supposed to take what a user record, and we can then console.log that we are creating user based on the data that people send us. And what we want to do is what we want to save something inside the database. We are using a Vercel Postgres database. That's what we're using. So we can say that it's supposed to be what await SQL, right? Await SQL, then the template tags of what of this operation. And in between here, we expect that what we want to insert into user email name and password, or email name and password, right? And their respective values, the user.email and the user.what. So SQL needs to be imported at the top of our application, right? Import SQL from at Vercel, then we can say Postgres. No, it should be at Vercel Postgres at Vercel /Postgres. Yeah, at Vercel /Postgres. Is this correct? At Vercel. Do we have at Vercel /Postgres installed? No. So we need to install this for us to be able to make SQL operation. That's interesting. So we need to install at Vercel Postgres before we can move forward there. So we can do born install at Vercel /what Postgres. And yeah, it should be this, right? At Vercel Postgres. Right? Postgres. And yeah, that should work. And if that works, then we should have the underlying out of the picture at Vercel /Postgres. We should now have at Vercel /Postgres. Okay, yeah. VS Code is seeing the types now. Then we have SQL that we can use and to insert something. And so once it has inserted something, then we can now take the result of the operation into a variable called save the user, right? Save the user into the DB, right? And then we can return the the saved we can return the return saved user, and something is not closing properly. So we can return the saved user, and this is supposed to be an async function, right? An async function. And then we can also export this out. We can export this function out as well. Does this make sense to anybody here? Does this make sense? That is, this is us creating a function that can talk to database to go ahead and create a user on our behalf. Then we need to type this. So if we want to type this, then we can type it as let's just type it as, maybe we should type it as let's just type it first as email. We can type it like this first. But we need to create a particular section of our app where we can store and write our types, right? That is where we can keep all of our type definitions. So we can, what we can do is inside of our live here, we can do type definitions, type definitions /ts, and we can create our what? We can create our type. And the first type that we're going to create is that of the user. So we can say type equal of user is what? Is equals to ID string, right? So this is the type for our user. So if we want people to be able to import this, then we can put a export on it, and we can do this. Then we can then go into our what? Our actions, and we can import at the top. We can import at the top. We can import at the top here by saying we want to import type. We want to do an import of type, right? And it is type from where? From go outside a little bit. Are we going outside a little bit? Go outside. We have ash. I mean, we're just inside of action. So just go outside and allow us to do a type definitions. And inside of this place, then we should see how our user types that we can use. And eventually we can change this. So this is supposed to be what? Email, name, and password. So we can what? We can do some TypeScript utility by using omit, right? And then we can omit from our user, right? Which field do we want to omit? We want to omit ID out of that place. And yeah, I think if we omit ID out, it should be able to, now we should be able to type our user correctly. So now if we go back into this portion here, then we can call the create what? We can call await. We can call the create user, right, function here. And we can also what? Console.log, right? Console.log saved user. We can console.log saved user into the database, and then we can also comment this out just to reduce the logs that we have. And everything seems to be fine on the front end. We'll try to save this one more time. And now it is saying that you did not supply a connection string and there is no Postgres URL in the environment variable. So it means that we do not have the right database configurations. But I thought we did. So it's to check the .env. So we do not have. So I'm just going to bring all of these interesting things here, and let's just bring them here. Let's just do this here. Let's do this. And then we can do, no, no. So this is what's supposed to be here. Then we can do this here. And we can do this here. Let's just do this. And we can do this as well here. And I think, I'm not sure if we can format this file. Okay, it tried to format it, but let's just assume that this is fine. Yeah, I think there should be so much information now, and it should attempt to say some things. Okay, so the information is still not clear. So let me take this off the screen here. Let's take this out off the screen. Then I can fix this there. Let's see. So we want to, I'm just trying to do some things somewhere on another screen so that I don't leak out the environment secrets here that I'm working with. So we have bat this and pass this to a PB copy this here, and we can paste everything here. So we can take this out of the picture. We can take this out as well of the picture. And we can bring it back now. I think that everything should be done. So everything is done here, right? As well. So we can bring this here as well. So yeah, that is start here. I think everything should work now. We try to make some database call. So you could see that it tried to what? This is creating the user operation, right? Right. This is the creating of the user, and this is what the result of the operation that was done, the insertion. So you can see that what the row count here is what 1. So the big thing that we can do now is to what the real thing that we can do now is to inside of these actions, I think here we can then say that if password, right, if what, if the saved user, right, if the saved user dot row count is equals to what 1, right, that's when there's a user, right? And we can proceed to handle this what we can proceed to handle this situation by we can proceed to handle this whole situation that okay, if we try to create a user and that creation of the user was successful, then we understand that what we can proceed to carry out other things that we want to do, that is the sending of the email, right, and the returning of the success process can happen here. So for sending of the email, right, we can then do and await send email, and we can say welcome to this there, and we can say this is pointing towards this validated data. And eventually we also want to what eventually we also want to sign in we also want to sign in, or better still, I like to do it this way. Maybe we can do the negation here. Just do the negation. If it is not equals to 1, we can see that we can return we can return a situation, right? Return a situation by saying message is error while saving, right? Error while registering user, error while registering user. So we can say something that looks like this, and eventually we can send this email out, because our send user email accept a subject, and it accepts email and the name of the person that we're trying to send emails to, right? So the email and the name of the person, and eventually we can also yeah, let's just return an object for now, right here, that we can see maybe user created, and this is what the operation looks like. So we can then finish up this now by adding, maybe let's add extra information to this here, and then you can save this, and we can get this feedback here that says what user created. And that is interesting. It is not an error. So we need to what? And it is because we are returning. The reason why we're getting that feedback is because we are sending this message out, right? Which in turn, our what? Our form is able to understand. Our form is smart enough to what's it called now? Where's our form again? This form here, the form here is smart enough to be able to why do we have error here though? That's interesting. Okay, I'm going to type these things now. I think there's something I need to type to save me all the error there. But the major thing that powers that is this point here. And I think that in this situation, this it is because we're not yet sending, it's not supposed to stay on this page. It's supposed to redirect us to like another page, right? And carry out this. And I think that this is not even showing. Let's check something else. Let's check whether the email is sending out. Let's check whether the email is sending out. Let's check whether this email is also going out. So if you check this as well, you can see that this email is also going out, right? So that. I mean, maybe when somebody registers something, you just want to verify, like you want to create a process to verify their email, right? Maybe you want them to click on a link to verify something, so that can happen by the side while they try to verify the whole process. But then you can see that we have successfully been able to what to create a user. If we try another one, right, we look at it again, right, another user must have been created, right, with what this email, right? And it works. So if we check Melinator, right, we go back to the third person there, we'll see what the email being sent. And we are using a Vercel Postgres database. So we can also check our Vercel to see that the data has been created. So that is that about like the whole registration flow, right? So the next thing is to finish up the sign-in flow such that when somebody initiates a register, instantly we can maybe sign them in once we are sure that the email is like a verified email. So here we can I'm not supposed to come here, just go down to our Vercel database, go to Vercel dashboard, and then we can go to storage. and go to what? Storage. Right, there's skeletons everywhere. And we can go to storage, and under storage we can check that database, and we can check the user, right? We can check the user, and if we scan through the emails that we have, right, you can see the last 3 emails that we're trying to what? We'll see the last email that we're trying to what? Hit. So yeah, that works perfectly well, right? So what we want to do next is to just ensure that everything is wired up correctly, right? We want to ensure that everything is wired up perfectly as they should. So the next thing we want to do is, let me try to fix out these error messages here. By so the problem with this error message is that there is this register here that uses the previous state and it is using any, right? So we need to type that. And to type that, I'm going to create another type. Maybe I should just go inside this place to create a type. So we can just say export type register state, right? And we can say that is equals to. So the major thing is what we have: message and error, right? Those are the two things. Then we have error, right? Message and error. And the error is an object that contains optional name, email, error, and confirm password. I think we should have a confirm password, and yeah, that should be it. Yeah, that should be it. So we can then import this declaration, this type declaration, into our actions. So we can say that you want to import our what? Register state, right? We can see it right there. We can see the register state. And we then want to type this one from Henny to be what? Register state. And I think now, once we type it as register state, some of the noise should go back out. Then let's see something else as well. Here, when we type register, the actions, do we need to type this to do we need to type that to be it's supposed to be, let's see. So let's see what TypeScript is trying to say to us, because what is the major thing that you're trying to say to me? I was expecting a type matching register state, but instead I received error, boolean, and message. Where did you receive error, boolean, and message? So this one here is supposed to return what did I call this again? We call this message, and so we can just say message. Let's just do message since it is optional, right? And so if we check this now, the type declaration of this state is supposed to be error, email, name, and password, right? So we're able to refer to what that. And also we need to fix this. I don't know why, but it's not the yeah, I think the errors are gone now. Yeah, the errors are gone. Yeah, the errors are gone. Then there's still one more here, which is saying that it is expecting name, string, email, string, password. This is not assignable to this, this here. So let's see. This form, this is not applying to, it's not applicable to this. Let's just say fix with Copilot. Yeah, we can ask Copilot if Copilot is able to fix it for us. So Copilot is saying that the problem is that the form state hook is being called with an incorrect argument. It has to be previous state. No. Discard. It has to be like this. What's the signature of this initial state? Initial state is this name, email, string. Okay, maybe we can do this by saying the initial state will be what? Error, right? No, error. And we have the object, and we can close that. That should be the initial state. And we can then tell it that message is empty string. Okay, this is supposed to be what the initial state should look like. I'm not sure what I'm missing here though, but let's see. Let's just copy these. Let's just copy everything. And let's see. Another thing is we need to set the return type for the register. The register is supposed to return a promise, register state, or undefined. Right? It's supposed to be able to yeah, we can say register state takes this. So when you hover on this now, it's supposed to tell you that I will return this. So what is the problem exactly here with this type? Action state. Okay, so Colade, what's up? Yes, I have a senior person on the call. Those I probably talked about him before. Yeah, is one of the fans' favorites. One of the OGs that we have been learning together for quite a while now. Uh, so I'm trying to fix this overload here. I don't know why this is busting here. I think we could just pass this an empty. We could just say this is empty object. Yes. If we say it's empty object, then there's peace. So what is the initial state? the initial state is supposed to be empty. It will bust these other ones now. Yeah, because error does not exist on type list. So another thing I can do here is, I think we can then type, can we type this initial state to be register state? Can we say this is possible to be what? Register state? And if we say this is register state, and there should be what piece? Yes, what piece? Yes, there's what piece. So majorly, we have a form that is working where we can sort of like submit something, right? And we can fill it with another information, and then we can try to submit the whole thing, and we'll see the user is what user created. And we can also check that email. We check this email, go back to inbox, right? We can check this email, so we can see that we are getting email from the Beauty Forever team, which is coming in, right? And if we check the database as well, check the user DB, we can see the last user is what? This user that is coming in. So that is what our register phase. And the moment the registration happens, we want to route our user to another place, right? We want to route them to another user, another space, and that's what we want to try to fix now, right? So for those who are just joining us, it's a Next.js application. We're trying to just build some e-commerce stuff, just playing around, right, to build an e-commerce stuff. Most of the actions happen inside of this place here, that is this action.ts file. So here we're setting up the resend that we're using to send email. Here we are doing authentication. This is where we're supposed to log somebody in, but we have not written the body of the function to log somebody in. Then this is us creating a Zod schema, right, and describing what should happen. Then we're also creating we're adding an extra validation, right, to check if our password match the new password using Zod Refine API, which is something that is very beautiful. Then we have this function, this server action called register, that takes two things, right? The previous state, right? And what? A form data. Form data is whatever information our user fills into the form, right? Is the form data. And then this is what the console.log telling us that, okay, this is the previous data, this is form data. Now we're trying to use the schema dot what save pass from Zord, that is validate that the data that our user typed is genuine, matches what we declared. Once it matches, then if it matches, it will go inside this and run this part. But if it does not match, then it comes inside this place, right, and tries to return a object back to the front end, right? So it sends this error and it sends this message to what? The front end. And this object will be what? Received here as what? State. That is, our use form state helps us, even though register is a server action, but it helps us to send the result of this operation, right, to what? Our client, so that the browser can take that error object and have it as state variable, and then we can use it on the front end to relay information back to our user, telling them that there was an error or there was a particular problem that happened. So also, we also could implement a toast, right? A toast UI, right? We all know toast. Do we all know toast, right? You could implement a toast that could maybe alert. I mean, I think we could do an alert, or we could do a way to just communicate to our user that, oh, right, everything works as they should, right? And that is what this is doing. And I also said that recently I checked the documentation to also see that what the use form state has what? A dispatch. The dispatch is this register, because it use form state takes register and gives us what? A state, which will now be what I can send to the browser, what error from the server that we can send to the browser, and this will now be the dispatch that we can attach to the form. And this is what React 19 is doing. That is, previously, if we are to handle this in the previous versions of React, we will probably have an on-submit here. That is what you will have. You will have an on-submit there, and then you will try to manually carry out the whole process. But what is happening now with React 19 is what we can then use something called server actions. That is, you're passing a server operation to the action prop of a form. So it means that what React and Next.js is doing is they're changing the default behavior of the HTML form element to be able to now send some server operation, just like what we have when we were writing PHP or when we were writing Node.js, right? Where you could just let the form submit something, right? And it goes straight to the database, not just on the client anymore. And that is what they are reintroducing back to the flow. So with this action dispatch here, right, we can carry out that operation, and it also gives us this pending, while this pending tells us whether it is loading or what it is done, right? And we can pass that pending to our button to disable the button or to enable the button, and to also display some UI feedbacks for our user to see. And for us now, the whole registration process works as it should. We're sending email. It only remains one particular step that we want to do here, which is after sending email, we want to not just return this object here, but we also want to sign our user in, right? Such that we can just automatically log them into our application. So that is just a little update for anybody who is just joining. And for the sign-in to work, we'll need to make this authentication place here. We need to make this function work. So, and to make this authenticate work here, we need to go to the route to see what we have on that route. I need to also clean up all the logs that we have on the server. So if we go to our login page, we have this here. I know it needs some adjustments, right? And this is not yet working. I want to make this password visibility also working as well. So we want to make sure that if we feel something, right, if we feel anything here, right, we can submit that information directly, right, on the server, such that our user can see. So you can see here that the user is coming in here, the information is coming in here via the form data prop. And if we check, let's just bring our UI close to, let's bring our IDE close to the UI, then the terminal should be close by here. Okay, so I hope everybody can still hear me, right? I hope everybody can still hear me. And so let's just go to the instead of us coming to this register form, we need to go to the login form. So in the login form, we have some exports, right? We have some exports, we have some logos here, and then this is our form, right? And all of that here. So again, so we have action. You can see that we are passing our server action directly to the action prop. So if we want to use this here, I think we could just carry out. So because this is bringing us back to our action file here. Where's our action here? Yeah, it's bringing us back to this place here. And I think if I call, so what we want to do is we want to call a sign-in flow, right? Just passing our what? Passing our whatever information that the users are passing. We want to send it to what? To our next auth to carry out the process of authentication. There's a file that we need to check, which is our auth.ts file. Now, this auth.ts file, this is the particular function that carries out the signing in process. Because when you look at this auth.ts here, it is the logic here that determines is the logic here that determines, I'm not sure even whether this function is called or not, but let's check. Let's check. One of these functions is not called, because if the two is called, it is supposed to log these credentials as well. So let's just say inside authorize. Okay, I know why it's not called yet. I know why it's not called yet. So we need to export out a sign-in, because this is exporting out a sign-in. So it means that here we can import a sign-in here. We can import a sign-in from what? Import sign-in from we're importing sign-in from heart. I think it should be heart /heart app, right? And we should be able to do, is it app or hot? Now let's see. What do we have? Do we have hot? Right? And there should be a sign in here. There should be sign in here, right? A sign in. And this sign in here can be passed to this place here. And we can do an await, and we can call it sign in and pass the what? Pass our what? Our form data exactly here. And if we pass our form data here, we should be able to what? So if we try to log in now, if we try to log in with this user information, right, we will see that in our terminal we should see two logs coming in. I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, one is busting us now. Let's see. At least you can see these two logs here coming in. These are the two logs that we expect to come in. Now the next thing that is going on is we're supposed to have the callback route error. Where's the callback route error? Why are we getting a callback route error? Why are we getting a callback route error? Why are we getting a callback route error? It's too early to be getting a callback route error. Do we need to specify a hot URL? Because, let's see, provide our credentials. Let me just search for this error and see what this error is trying to say. It's saying that I want a callback route error. So I think we can click on this route. Well, let's just copy this route and bring this back into our application. So here we have it says that this error occur when the user cannot finish login, depending on the provider. This could have happened for multiple reasons. the provided email token combination was invalid or missing. Okay, if the provider's verification status is this, let me send in a correct something and let's see whether we are still going to get this error. Let's see if we send in a valid user information. Then we can put, let's just put, at least I'm sure that this is a valid email in the database. This particular email is in the database here. Do we have? Then we have password. So here, we can try to sign in here. So it is still the same error, unhandled runtime error. Unhandled runtime error. It's still the same thing. Unhandled runtime error. Think might know. Not even sure this is logging at all. Because I'm not seeing this log. This key. I've not saved this file. Let's see. Let's see what that it is because of that issue. Let's see. I don't expect it to work, because I've not finished it, but I'm just expecting to see the right logs so that we know what is going on. All right. So here, at least I know that there should be 2 logs here. So this is what the credential, and then the second one now is coming in here. It's trying to what? It's trying to carry out the process that we expect. Okay, so it means that inside of this place, then we can then go ahead to handle all the necessary information. So it means that here we can what? We can create what? The password hash, right? Just create the password hash of what? So we can call bcrypt, right? bcrypt dot what? Dot hash, right? And it's a promise based hash, and we can do an await on this, right? And this is supposed to give us what? Then we can import bcrypt to come in here. Import bcrypt here, and this is the password, the hashed version. It's supposed to be what? Password, and the rounds to hash, which is 10 here. What else? Is this unknown? Do we have this to be unknown? No, let's do this here. Let's just do this here. We can see. Let's just see. Let's not pass everything here. So let's just pass. Let's pass email like this here. So if we pass this object here, then this should receive this credential here should be able to now get the right types here. So if we get the right types here, we should be able to get credential.password, and we can get that out of that place. And once we have the password hash, then we can create what a logic to verify if the user exists in the database. So how do we do that? How do we check if there is a user in our database? So it means that inside of our actions here, right, just as we have this register and we created this create user, then we can create another function, right, that can be what get a particular user based on what the email that is sent to that particular what user. So it means that we can have a function, right, and we can call it what user, right, and can call it get user from DB, and it can accept email and password. We can take email and password this time around. So, do we want to take email and password? Let's just exclude password because of the hashing consistencies. Right, let's take email and then we can verify if the hash is the same thing. So here, this is here. What else can we do here? And this is the beauty of Next again here, where we can talk to the database here, right? We can talk to our database here and to check if we can talk to our database to check if there is that particular user. As we did earlier, we can do SQL, right? And you can have what this beautiful operation here. So this is supposed to what get our user, select user all from user table where email is equals to what the specified email, and we can then return this get the user that is gotten here. So this is, we can make this an async function, right? We can make this an async function, and this is supposed to now return, we can write it in different ways. This can return a const what user from DB, or user, we could just call it user here. And what we can do is, if user.row count is not equals to 1, we want to throw a particular error, right? We want to throw a particular error, and we want to throw return null, return null, or maybe a message that user not found in the database error. This has to be message. All right, we want to say user not found in the database. If user role is not equals to 1, yeah, this is not bad. And then we can then return user dot there should be user dot rows, which is an array, right, of what 1, because we are sure that if it is not equals to 1, or if it is less, or if it is less, I think we could just say not equals is bad. But I think if it is less than or equals to 1, less than or equals to 1, the possibility here of this being null, right, is if user is null. So we want to say that if user.row count is not equals to null, right, is not equals to what? To null, and user.row count is equals to 0, you can say something like this, right, to catch that, and then we can just return the array that we are expecting to do. So this is our get user from the database. We can import it into this place, right, and we can then say that our user is equals to what? Await, right, get what? User from where? Get user from where? From DB, right? So it's supposed to import this particular file from the action.ts file such that what? We can use that particular thing there, and we can pass it what? Our credential.email. We can pass it our credential.email. Just pass a string to this to keep the noise out, and we can import this from actions. We can see app /lib, right? And we can see /actions. And I think we're not exporting that function out. So we need to export the function, export that function out, and save that. Then we should be able to import it here. And once we are able to import it, then we can use it within our work, get user from our DB. So that checks whether we have our user from our database. And yeah, so if we have that there, so if there is no user, right, you want to throw some error, that is if there is no user, just say a string, and if there is no user, meaning that they could not do this. So we say user not found, and in the end we return what? User found. So this is the step to log our user in, and so we can try out this flow now and see whether it is going to work or we are going to have some there's a problem somewhere. You may need an appropriate loader to handle what is blowing this up. Let's just do this here. Let's do this here and develop. Let's restart the server. Let's restart the server. Okay. You may need an appropriate loader to handle this file type. So I guess that our middleware.ts file, middleware.ts file is blowing things up. This particular file is blowing things up. It's not supposed to be like that. Module bcrypt.js is not seeing the things that it needs to see. So let's see whether if we do a rmn of our node modules, and we do rmrf.next folder, and let's try to install born install, right, everything afresh, and let's see whether that will fix the problem. Okay, and then we can do a dev The error is not going anytime soon. Maybe I'm going to do RM. Let's do this. I can use npm to install. npm to install to see, and if that will not fix it, then I have to. I mean, I've been using bcrypt before now, so why is it failing? You may need an appropriate loader to handle the file type. No loader to process this. Okay, I know what the issue might be. Let's just do. Most likely, it's because we are using. The turbo pack. I'm using turbo pack instead of using the default experimental. Instead of using the default web pack. So there's something inside turbo pack that is not able to load. That is not able to load our bcrypt module. So there's something inside there. Yeah, I think because if I check our config folder, we check our next config folder. We're using turbo pack here. I think this line, that are the two things that are breaking this code up. So I'm just going to move away from the experimental ones and then try to we'll try to it's very interesting. So if I run it one more time and see, and I'm still getting the same problem, then that is likely to be the issue. Yeah, most likely. So for those who are wondering what is the value of D, because I'm using D to start my server. So if I do alias D is something called nhar, right? And nhar is coming from npm ls-global. nr is coming from this particular package called and full ni. So we have ni or nr. So when you use ni, it will automatically use whatever package bundler that you're using behind the scene. It will automatically use it. So instead of me guessing whether I'm using pnpm in this project or guessing whether I'm using yarn, right, that helps me to just solve that with a go. So let's try one more time, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to switch out turbo pack. For those who don't know what turbo pack means, turbo pack is like just like webpack, right, which is the new compiler that nextjs is building such that it will replace webpack. Let's see. Yeah, the same problem. So I guess that I'm just going to switch this out entirely, and we will have we should have this as an empty object. I'm still having that after switching it out entirely. You may need an appropriate loader. Oh, this is pretty strange and error to have. Hmm. Let's do this way. Let's do this way. Let's try to change what is inside of this middleware TS here. Hmm. Let's do this way. If I do this way, let's say I import from next hot, from next hot, then I'm importing my hot config. I have a hot config that we've done that is inside. It's supposed to be inside. There should be inside of app here. We should have a hot config. Do we have a hot config? Where's my hot config? Our hot config. Do we have any hot config here? Let's do this. Do we have any hot config? Hot config. I think we don't have a hot config. That's interesting. How possible is that we don't have a hot config? This is so strange. I must have skipped that process somewhere. So we should have a hot dot what? A hot dot config file, a hot dot config dot ts file. So it's just supposed to be a copy of our. It's just supposed to be a copy of all of the sweet things that we're trying to do. I'm just going to copy an example of the hot config from another project very fast. All right, I'm just going to copy this and bring this back into this. So this is a sample of what should be inside the hot config here. Now the hot config is supposed to contain the way we want to configure auth. I don't know how possible did I even do this without putting auth.config. This is very strange. So you're configuring this here that our register, we have register here. We're configuring this to have sign in to be what /login, then our callbacks, right? So this is supposed to tell us that let's just do this here. So it's supposed to just help us to configure the next auth, right? And it can support what pages, callback, right? If you are using providers, and then the reason why we have this debug here is such that what we can see some logs happening, right? And inside of this callback, there is this authorize that will happen on top of every. It's just like a middleware that will be run every time we kind of like switch into like a different route. And what is this doing? This checks our auth object and it takes our request object, it extracts next URL out of that place and is able to get whether there is a auth.user. So this auth.user is coming from this what auth.ts. That is, if you're returning a user here, right, then this will see this user, and based on whether it sees this user, it can determine whether, check whether if we're logged in, just run us to the major thing is run us to like a dashboard route, right, if we're logged in, right? And if we're not logged in, if there is no authentication, if there is no session, right, redirect us to a what, redirect us to a what is it called now, redirect us to a a login page. So any authenticated user, the moment authentication happens, they are redirected to what, to this dashboard. Why is there a TypeScript error here? The argument next URL is not assignable to type, to parameter of type what, string and URL. So what is the type of this one here? But this is saying that, let's just do this here. Let's just do as what, as URL. Let's do as URL here, and there should be piece here, or we just stick it to string, right? Stick it to string. It says we should go to unknown first. Possible conversion of type next URL to string may be a mistake. So if we are sure, we should first swap it to unknown. I'm not sure if this is best, but I'm not sure if this is best, but it should kill off that noise entirely. And we have that config here. And after we have the config here, we can now set this one up properly to import from the auth config, right? Is it imported from the auth config? And there should be a auth config object here, right, that we can pass to our next auth. So we can pass export default. So this middleware TS, we always also, this middleware file will be the one to trigger all, that is, anytime we go to any route, it will be running a middleware operation, right? This, and then we can do another thing, which is something that I also like to copy from another code base, which is, so what this does basically is that it tells us the routes that are what, anytime you export out a config file, if you export out a config file from, anytime we are inside Next.js and we export a config file, right, it sees it as a middleware that runs on top of all the routes that we have. It sees it as a middleware that runs, that sits on top of all your routes. And what that does is that it will just help us to do some matching. So here, anytime you export out a config inside this file here, it is telling us that I'm not going to protect, like, the route that this middleware will be working on. It will not run and protect any .api route. It will not protect .next folders. Anything inside our static, it wouldn't touch it. Any images, any PNG, and maybe we can add SVGs and the other ones there. It's not going to touch them, right? That's what this referred to now. And I think that if we try to run this whole thing again, it should not, cannot append headers after they are sent. So let's see. The middleware must export a middleware or default. Why not done a default out? This is export default. So, okay, export a default, and I'm exporting my hot out here. right? That is what I'm supposed to export out there. And I think the application is no longer blowing up anymore. Right, the application is no longer blowing up as it was. So what is it saying here? It's trying to say that there's a yes, it's not blowing up. Where is this email being logged from? This email is being logged from the particular place. I don't know where this log is coming from, but I need to know where this particular log is coming from. So let's try to send something to this place. We're trying to send any valid user that we have put into the DB. Let's try to pass that with our password, and then we can send that to where. And if we send this to what's going on? So if I inspect this page now, I think we might have our token already. Let's just get the token. So if I check the session here, okay, there's no token here. Okay, there's a token. Yeah, there's a token somewhere here. Okay, yeah, there's cookies. So we have 2 cookies here, right? And we can see that there is the Authjs callback URL. It's setting a CRF token and it's setting a session token. And how do we know that this session token is our own? Can we show the coded URL here? Is it possible? So we can copy this token here, right? And copy and take it to jwt.io. And inside jwt.io, we can now paste this token here, and we can see that we are the owner of this token, right? We're supposed to be the owner of this token here. Let's see. Let's get the exact token. Yeah, this token is supposed to be for our user. Let's see. Let's see. When does it expire? The token expires today, August, September. In 1 month's time, the size is this. So, but I need to know whether this is our real token. But I'm sure that this is our token, but it's just not giving me the right flip of it inside the JWT headers here. Yeah. It's saying invalid. It's saying invalid token. Maybe because why can this be an invalid token? That's interesting. But I am sure that at least when we refresh this page now, it is taking us down to the dashboard, right? Anytime you refresh, it takes us out to the dashboard. And the only way to log us out is by deleting this token. Right? If we delete the token here, and it will route us to the login back. Right? So that is a little bit about the whole login in flow there, right? So if I want to make this error free, I think what we can do is to ensure that here we are redirecting to the right URL. at all times. So if is login, that is, if is login, if auth.user here, right, this will be true if we are logged in. And if is dashboard, if we're on the dashboard route and it's logged in, return true, else return false, redirect. So this false is what will redirect us to login if we are not logged in. And if we are logged in, force us to go back to the dashboard route, and then we are returning true, which says go ahead and proceed to authenticate us there. So if we sort of if we just create a route, if I create another route in the application, which is Control B, right, create a route here and we call it dashboard, and we can do a page.tsx here, and we put a function inside of this whole thing, right? We just copy, let's just copy something that we have here inside of one of these login. Just copy something here. I mean, let's just not copy. This is too much for me to copy, so I just need a export default function page, and then we have this here, and then we can do a return. We can do a return, and this is supposed to be a div. Let's make it here. Let's just trick this to just say so this is supposed to just be no form here. Just call this the closing of the div, and then we can say this is h1, and we can call it dashboard. So we have a route for the dashboard set up, and if we save this gsx, return this here. Let's take this out. Let's just say here, at least the dashboard route should be there. So if we try to go out to a dashboard route by default, I think the app should not allow us to go there. So if you try to go to a dashboard route, right, the middleware at the top of everything is constantly taking us back that, oh, the only person that has right to go inside of what, the only person that has right to go to the dashboard route is somebody that is logged in. And for information's sake here, we can do something here, and you will see what I am talking about. That if we have, let's just do a dashboard, right? And I think it doesn't come here, but let's check the server side. So you can see on the server side, right, you can see the here, right here, that is, it is running the code inside of this auth config, right, this authorized inside of this auth config. That is what determines the operation that happens here. And let's try to log in again with another with a valid user, and let's see whether the token we're going to get logged in. Password, and we can pass this here, and then we can say so you can see that automatically as we signed in, it's what redirected us towards the dashboard route, and which shows that, okay, yeah, we have something that is working, right, for our application. So the last part of what I want to do before I call it a day here is to make sure that anytime we register easily, inside of this register form, you want our action that calls this page should also the action, that is the authenticate, the register thing that happens here, should instantly also sign us in here. That is, it should instantly sign us in here. So what we want to do is what, do an await, and you want to call sign in, right? Sign in with credentials, right? And we need this to come in here. And yeah, we'll need to handle some error now on this page. And I need a way to log out. I'm just going to manually log out as well by deleting, by clearing the application storage memory. I'm just going to clear this. And if I refresh, right, there's no more token. And so if we go to the sign, go to the register route, we'll fill this information with this particular email, and we can submit here, right? And we should hit the error. Okay, we didn't hit any error. It automatically redirected us down to the dashboard. So you can see that it instantly registers a user and it instantly like logs a user in. And that is beautiful. Again, we've got the login flow, right? The login and the register flow. We've got both working, right? That is, you can, when you register on this application, it instantly signs you in, right? And you can also do like a logout and sign in properly. Now, the next two things that I want to also do on the authentication side is the forgot password and reset password flow, right? Since we already have email sending wired up, that shouldn't take us so much time to be able to figure it out. So the first flow will be a form where people can request for us to reset their password. That is, that place we're going to reset, try to reset their password, send them a email that is going to route them to the reset password route, where they will now see a place to put in their two passwords there. And another thing, we want to make sure that if somebody has requested for a reset of password, we want to ensure that we generate like a token for them so that we can know who the owner of that token is, right? And we can also time the token such that the reset token for a password is not alive forever, right? You know, those are some of the things that we want to ensure to do next. So again, I mean, the whole app is shaping up as much as possible, right? The whole app is kind of like coming together. It was pretty much long today. It was like 2 hours plus of just writing code and making all of these things, you know, like functional as much as possible. But like we've got like the register flow like all working. We've got like the login route working. So once we do the forgot password, right, initiating the forgot password and doing the proper reset of the password, then we can move to our dashboard. Then we can start talking about the architecture of our e-commerce application, right? The tables for our product, the tables for the cart, all these beautiful, beautiful things that we probably usually have in all these e-commerce products. So that is that today. I hope you've learned one or two things right here. If you have anything you want me to talk about, regular expression, any topic in JavaScript or any question, I mean, I think I can take some questions. We can take some questions for anybody who has a question. Okay. So this register is what is being streamed. This is streaming that is happening here, right? That is sending of information from the server side to the client side. Yeah, that is streaming that is happening there as well. It's a lot. It's a lot. I think it's just Next.js for me. I think is beautiful, and I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about Next.js in general, but I think it's a beautiful way to build application. right? It's a beautiful way to build an application. You eventually can understand everything that is going on in a Next.js application. So for those who are here, you can check out my personal website. You can tweet about it as well. You can share the article with your friends and family. I'm just getting back to my normal self. I'm trying to write articles, right? I'm just trying to, just do as many things as I can, right? So um you can check out some of the articles that I've written in time past. And I wrote an article about Colade as well. I don't know if Colade is still on the stream. I wrote an amazing article about Colade. I think, yeah, you should be able to find it here. So if you want to know more about Colade as a person, yeah, this is what I had to write about him. I mean, all this happened around 2018. Yeah, I think it happened around 2018 when we were still learning together. So, but now he's a very senior developer now. So, so I'm just giving him all the respect that he deserves. He's an amazing engineer. Um, he's just one of the best guys that I've worked with in terms of like an engineer that I have gotten to like work with, or I mean maybe train. I can use the word train as well, but he's a very brilliant person. And like I said, one of these days I'll also bring him. I'll drag him to come and teach us all the JavaScript that he knows. All right. So you can read all the amazing stuff that I have here. And I don't know if I dropped his GitHub URL, but I know that his LinkedIn page is here. If you want to know who the person is, his LinkedIn page is there. And he's now a big boy, He's a big boy. He doesn't answer my message anymore. He's a big man, right? And yeah, he's just doing amazing. And I usually say this, that if you work hard a lot, you will see the results. We've been together working hard, several sacrifices, different lot of troubles that we've been together through. But here we are, we're still learning, we're still writing code, and we're still trying to build stuff. And I think that's the whole joy there for us as engineers, that when you work hard, you would always see the result, right? You always see the result of all of the hard works that you put into it. So we both went to Lautech together as well. That's another thing. We went to Lautech together. And yeah, he's an amazing engineer that is very, 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 very good. So that will be all from my end today. I hope you've learned one or two things for everybody who was able to join the stream. And yes, what we are building is shipping gradually, right? We should be able to write some more CSS as time, some more CSS as time goes, and all of that. So again, all of the things I'm streaming is on. We have some on LinkedIn. We have some on Twitch. I have some stuff as well on YouTube as well. So do well to just watch them for your purpose, for you to be able to like learn one or two things. So thank you for joining, and do have a wonderful night rest. Thank you, everybody.